All right, so here we are live once again, folks. Good evening. Mobile Giza here. Welcome to Friday Night Tech Talk. Those of you who are new here probably don't know we do this every Friday night at this time, live from the eastern coast. I'm in Tennessee, so we discuss tech news from the past week, from last Friday to this Friday. And if you're new here, I'd like you to type something into the comments. Let us know you're here and where you're from. We have some regulars that pop in here every week for whom I'm very grateful. And also, sometimes we have Ted, one of my close compadres. He comes in from Dallas when he has the time. He's a very busy guy. And Will from New Jersey, and Will and Mike both are in New Jersey, and I'm originally a Jersey guy myself. So they pop in when they can. Will has a very, very hectic work schedule, but he pops in when he can. And Mike, we haven't seen him for, I don't know, a month and a half or so, but I'm sure we'll see him again at some point. So if any of them pop in, and those guys make the discussion much, much better. But all of my regulars that type in the comments, they always make the discussion move along nicely. They teach me stuff every single week. And every week we go by my show notes, which are on my webpage. So let me show you that. I'm going to share that. Okay. So the show notes for every week are on my mobilegeezer.wordpress.com. If you go there and click on today's date, you'll get just the show notes for tonight's show. So as I do every week, I forgot to mention that I simulcast on two Facebook IDs, Mobile Geezer and George Hayes, and YouTube. So all three are simulcast at the same time, so you can watch me and us on any of them. So as I do every week, I'm going to preview the stories while we're here. So tonight, nothing heavy duty, but we did have a couple of events, or at least one event this week. So I'm going to go over that. But the first story we're going to start, for once, I usually give you bad news about T-Mobile or some breach they've had or something like that. For once, I've got a nice story about T-Mobile, very short and sweet. So we'll get to that. That's on something called The Street. So we'll get to that. Our next story is the big thing for next Monday, I believe it is. Yeah, the night before Halloween. Of course, Apple's going to have not a live event, an online event, not live. And it's going to be called Scary Fast. Yeah, I wonder why they called it that. And so we can talk about that. And I got it from Tom's Guide. And they'll be debuting some MacBook Pro and iMac stuff, as far as we know. Of course, these are still rumors. After that, the big show of the week was the Snapdragon Summit, which is always in Hawaii. So, of course, all the big YouTubers and writers love to go to that. So that was 3 days this week. It ended yesterday. I think most of the news came out on the first 2 days. So I've got that one from Pocket Now. And then, and there's a lot of technical stuff in there, so I'll probably be jumping around in that to some degree because I don't want to bore you with it. Then we're going to discuss the story. There's a new password vulnerability and more discovered from Mac OS and iOS browsers. That's on Ars Technica. So they're not hackers. They're a group trying to discover what can be hacked and what can't. Well, they came up with a new hack that works on Mac OS and iOS browsers. So pretty interesting stuff. Again, very technical. I'll try not to bore you with it. I'll probably jump around. That's a very long story. And then we all got, well, I guess most of us got iOS 17.1 this week. And so I'll show you what's in it. We just got iOS 17, beginning of the month? About a month ago. So this is 17.1. So we'll go over the new features that are in there and some kind of nice, useful stuff. And finally, I found this story on BBC News. The UK Prime Minister, who I did not know, ISIS says AI could help build biological weapons, among other things. I put that headline because I saw that headline somewhere, or a headline like it somewhere else about biological weapons. The biological weapons is only a small part of the story. It just happened to be the part that I guess makes people click on it. So we'll get to all of those. And if Ted or Will come in, I will certainly let you know and let them in as soon as I notice that they're there, and I usually hear that they join, so that shouldn't be a problem. And of course, it's a much better show when they're here. But we had a pretty good show last week with just me, I think. And so I don't know if I'm getting better at this. I think my subscribers are probably getting better at pushing me along at a good pace and introducing me to stuff that I don't know. So let's get to the first story. And I just said, T-Mobile backtracks on raising prices for customers. And maybe you all heard about it about a month and a half ago. T-Mobile was going to start taking some of us, and I'm a T-Mobile, and so is Eleanor, a customer. They were going to be raising prices on some of us who've been around a long time. Well, they got a big stink, and now they've changed their mind, which I think is awesome. So I want to start with a positive story for a change. So this is on the street. So let me take it into Reader View, get rid of some of these ads. T-Mobile admits it made a major mistake, backpedals. This is by Ian Kreitzberg. This was from 2 days ago. T-Mobile customers will be quite pleased with the company's latest move. Yes, we are. Faced with severe customer blowback, T-Mobile said Wednesday that the company is officially burying a program that would have forced customers into migrating to more expensive plans. Yes, they were. There was a way to get out of it, but I'm glad they dropped it. Rumors of the plan first broke on Reddit earlier in the month. Yeah, I guess it was the very beginning of the month. The move would have involved shifting customers from older plans to newer plans that would cost between $5 and $10 more per line. So that would have cost me anywhere from $15 to $30 more because I have 3 lines. T-Mobile initially planned to notify impacted customers last week. A spokesperson said that the test, they were calling it a test, would only affect a small portion of T-Mobile customers. Yeah, I guess they would have been the guinea pigs. And that customers could choose to opt out by giving customer service a call. And I was aware of that from the original story. I think we've learned that particular test cell isn't something that our customers are going to love, CEO Mike Sievert said during the company's third quarter earnings call Wednesday. We had planned it as a test cell, and then we aren't doing it because I think we've got plenty of feedback. Well, good for all of us customers who gave them feedback. Beating analyst expectations for adjusted earnings per share, T-Mobile reported a surge in subscribers, well, that's good, and $19.25 billion in revenue for the quarter, about in line with Street, that's this website, expectations. After tanking earlier in the day, shares of T-Mobile stabilized and tilted slightly up, probably because of the good news. So just wanted to start with that short story and a good story for a change about T-Mobile. So let's get out of here. Okay, let me stop screen for a minute, see if this. Yeah. And Brian said, no price hikes, thumbs up. Yes. That's why I said that's unusual for me to have a nice, happy T-Mobile story. That's good for us, but finally got one. Okay. back to the stories. Sharing screen. As I thought, since we've got the big Apple show, and now this is, keep in mind, this is online, this is not live, coming up on Monday, we should probably cover that right away. So I just said Apple to divulge new MacBook Pro M3 and iMac at Scary Fast, that's what they're calling it, event next week. And I pulled this from Tom's Guide. And yeah, I always follow them on Apple's YouTube channel. But I'll be working. Oh no, at the time this comes on, I don't think so. Yeah, I think I'll be home by then. Apple Scary Fast October 30th event. New iMac, MacBook Pro M3, and latest news by Philip Michaels, and it was updated today. Apple is ending the month with new hardware. So, read a view to get rid of some of these ads. Sometimes it takes a minute to pop into read a view. There we go. Okay. Just ahead of Halloween, Apple has planned quite a treat for people hoping for new Mac models. Now, I have my iPad Pro 2020, and I have my, what is it? Mac, the smaller Mac, not the mini. Anyway, I have two, but so I don't need anything at the moment. Apple has officially sent out invites for a virtual Scary Fast event on October 30th with new Macs likely to be announced. You know they're going to be expensive. Well, I would think they are, but maybe not. There's something in the story that says maybe not. Well, we've heard rumors previously about would-be Apple launches this month, particularly, yes, Brian, thank you, MacBook Air. I always get stuck on saying MacBook Air. Thank you. I have the M1 MacBook Air. We've heard rumors previously about would-be Apple launches this month, particularly centered around new iPads. And I don't think that's going to happen. But those rumors didn't pan out, with Apple instead merely releasing a new version of its Apple Pencil stylus with USB connectivity on October 17th. And I haven't watched any of the videos on the new Apple Pencil, but from the little bit I have seen, it seems like it's not as good or not as robust as the regular Apple Pencil. So I'm glad I have the regular one. Now, however, we know for certain new Apple products will be announced on October 30th. Here's what we know about the October Apple event, along with what we're expecting to see. When is it taking place? Apple event is scheduled for October 30th at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. So yeah, I'll be home because it'll be 8 p.m. on my time. It will be a virtual-only event, unlike in-person's event, like the September get-together that gave us the new iPhone 15, which I don't have it with me now. I have the 15 Pro Max. Most of you guys know that. And Apple Watch Series 9 models. And the reason I don't have it is because on Fridays, sometimes I'm rushing out to work and I come straight from work to here, and I don't get it. Most of the time, I don't get a chance to go home, so I didn't have my iPhone today. Today, I actually had my Pixel 7 and my Galaxy A54. So those are the two phones I carried with me today. Okay, lost my place. Okay. In other instances, Apple merely issues a press release detailing its new products. But now the company is hosting a virtual presentation, and it hasn't done so in well over a year. That's true. Apple has done October product launches before, but the timing is particularly interesting. That's true. As Apple is slated to announce its quarterly earnings on November 2nd, but they pushed it back. Typically, earnings for the company's fiscal fourth quarter would be announced during October. So the fact that Apple pushed back the announcement into November made the product announcement more likely. How do I watch? Apple has added the option to add the event start time to your calendar on its events page, where it will be streaming the entire thing live. Yeah, I was watching on Apple's YouTube channel. On YouTube, Apple has added a stream placeholder for the big event, But over on its official website stream, you can see an animated Apple logo that morphs into a Finder icon. I think that's cute. I didn't see that, but I just think it's a cool idea. There's another little clue that we could be seeing new Mac hardware or silicon announced at the event. Yeah, that is a pretty good clue, I would say. Expect the live stream to go live sometime on Tuesday morning. Why are they saying Tuesday morning? Oh, I get it. So is it Tuesday? No, we're talking the 30th, so that's Monday. Probably a few hours before the event's 5 p.m. Pacific start time. If you own an Apple device such as Apple TV, you can even watch the event through the TV. That's cool. What products should we expect to see Apple launch this month? With iPhone and Apple Watches already in the books for this year, the most likely candidate for an October 2023 announcement involves a new iMac, as Apple last released a version of its all-in-one desktop back in 2021. Yeah, I'd say they're about due. That's a long time to go between updates. In his report, Gurman also suggests that new MacBook Pros could be in the works, citing constrained supplies. As of this writing, some 14 and 16-inch MacBook Pro models are listing ship dates in November, suggesting Apple needs to refresh the lineup. Of course, Apple released new MacBook Pro models with the M2 Pro and M2 Max Silicon in January, which would seemingly rule out another update this year for either the 14-inch MacBook Pro or 16-inch MacBook Pro. The 13-inch MacBook Pro, however, last saw an update in June 2022 when it adopted the M2 chipset. So they're not sure, in other words. What else do you know about the rumored new iMac? With the current iMac powered by an M1 chipset, yeah, I'd say that's due. Upgraded silicon seems to be the most likely change to a new model. Apple could use an M2 chipset in its all-in-one, but the more persistent rumor tips Apple M3 silicon to power an upgraded iMac. Yeah, why would they go with an M2 when they have the M3? The M3 is supposed to arrive this year anyhow, so Apple would be rolling out 2 upgrades for the price of one by including that silicon in the 2023 iMac. That said, other reports have pegged 2024 as a more likely release date for the M3, with the chip showing up in MacBook Pro models at that time. Again, they don't know for sure. For what it's worth, leaked specs indicate that the M3 will start with 8 CPU and 10 GPU cores. Speculation about an M3 Max system on a chip suggests it will have up to 16 CPU cores and up to 40 GPU cores. That's pretty good. An M3 Ultra, on the other hand, could offer 28 CPU cores and get this 80 GPU cores. That's a lot of graphics. The 2021 iMac release also included a redesign for the all-in-one setup, and every indication is that a new model would retain that design, right down to the 24-inch display. There has been talk of a 32-inch iMac, but that's not expected until next year. I can imagine what that's going to cost. What else do you know about the rumored new MacBook Pro model? With the latest 14 and 16-inch MacBook Pro models having arrived a mere 9 months ago, it seems more probably that those models won't see an upgrade until 2024. I agree. That said, a second update within a year isn't unheard. I guess they mean unheard of, especially if new M3 chips are good to go now. A more likely scenario might see the 13-inch MacBook Pro get an update first, as it's a little longer in the tooth. Yeah, that's what they implied up above. An upgrade to the M3 chipset seems the most probable change, though again, that's something most experts expect to happen this coming spring. One thing we know for sure, Apple likes to keep us on the toes about this stuff. Analyst Ming-Chi Kuo has claimed that M3-powered MacBook Pros will be the star of the show on October 30th. However, units will be initially limited, so it could be hard to buy at launch. So the two experts are somewhat disagreeing on whether or not we're going to see M3-powered MacBook Pros or not. Is there anything else Apple might launch in October? One segment of Apple's lineup that hasn't been updated in a while are its peripherals. The latest report from Mark Gurman as of Friday, today, is that Apple will be releasing a new Magic Keyboard. I love my Magic Keyboard. A Magic Mouse and Magic Trackpad with the USB-C charging port. Okay. I guess USB-C is here to stay. There's no word on if any of these devices would be redesigned, so expect that you'll have to flip the mouse over on its back to recharge it. The only other products awaiting updates are all iPads. In fact, if we don't see new iPads between now and the new year, we'll have gone the length of 2023 without any sort of tablet release from Apple. That's really true. So, yeah, I would think they would, but who knows? So anyway, I wanted to go over all of that. So everything we're expecting next week is still rumor. Nobody knows positively anything yet. Okay, so I'm glad I'll be home for it and not at work. Okay, that's that one. Stop screen for a minute. All right, nothing new in the comments. Nobody has come in, neither Ted nor Will. So it's probably going to be a fairly fast show tonight. So we'll see how that goes. So back to the show notes. And the next story, now this was the big event of the week. Snapdragon Summit, which was 3 days ago up until yesterday. Qualcomm Snapdragon Summit 2023. This was on Pocket Now. So Jaime Rivera was there, and this is by one of the other guys that work for them. Roland. Okay, never had this name before. Udvalaki. Oh, I did pretty good. Roland Udvalaki. Not bad. Okay, Qualcomm Snapdragon Summit 2023. The 5 biggest announcements from the show. And like I said, a lot of technical stuff in here, so I'm probably going to do some jumping around. This was the one story I don't want to put into reader view because it doesn't display properly. You get that every once in a while where the stories don't display properly in reader view. So you got some quick links, but we'll just go read from the top. At the Snapdragon Summit 2023, Qualcomm announced its latest chips for mobile platforms, the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 premium system on a chip, the new S7 and S7 Pro Gen 1 audio platforms, the new Snapdragon X Elite. Yes, Jaime seemed very excited about that in his video yesterday, which I think is this video right here. For Windows-powered devices and the all-new on-device generative AI features. That's what everybody's pushing. There was a lot to unpack in a short amount of time, and Qualcomm had a very busy day. The 2-day Snapdragon Summit 2023 took place on October 24th and 25th. Okay. And in case you're interested in watching the live event, you can watch the entire live stream below. Qualcomm Snapdragon 8 Gen 3. So this is one of them. The new Qualcomm Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 brings significant upgrades to the table, offering an enhanced and a more seamless experience. The Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 is built on the efficient 4 nanometer, so they didn't go 3 nanometer yet, bringing the latest and the greatest to the masses. The new chip provides a significantly better efficiency and performance than its predecessor, offering up to 30% better performance and 20% more power efficiency. The GPU is 25% faster, while it's also 25% more efficient. So pretty good job sticking with the 4 nanometer. And I should mention, I did hear a discussion with Juan Bagnell and TK Bay on this show yesterday, and they were talking about the 3 nanometer versus the 4 nanometer, and they were kind of agreeing that there are cases where the 4 nanometer is more efficient than even the 3. So maybe that's why they stuck with the 4. So more basically headlines. I'm just going to skip around. I'm just going to read the real stuff. If you want to read it for yourself, you can. Camera support for the triple video. Oh, let's see. Did I miss something? No. Camera support for the triple video capture from HDR image sensors with seamless switching between any HDR mode up to 36 megapixel triple camera at 30 frames per second with zero shutter lag. That's good. Up to 64 plus 36 megapixel dual camera and 30 frames per second with zero shutter lag. Up to 108 megapixel single camera, 30 FPS with zero shutter lag, and 200 megapixel photo capture. Audio Qualcomm ACSTIC, I guess that's how you pronounce it, audio codec. So you can read this by yourself. I'm not going to read all of this stuff. You got on-device display support, 4K 60 hertz, QHD plus 144 hertz, maximum extended display support up to 8K 30 hertz. That's pretty good. And 1080 240 hertz. So some very nice specs here. Variable refresh rate support 240 hertz to 1 hertz. 10-bit color depth. I don't know what REC stands for, 2020 color gamut. HDR 10, 10 plus, HDR Vivid, and Dolby Vision. Brian says something. Oh, Brian, thank you as always. So you're very, very faithful. Let's see. Brian says, heard SD8 Gen 3 will have more AI capabilities. Okay, yeah, and that's what everybody's pushing. And maybe we'll find out as we go down. I'm going, like I said, I'm going to skip around. So when it comes to connectivity, the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 offers faster 5G feeds, and the new Snapdragon X75 model RF system is designed with AI hardware acceleration. The chip uses Qualcomm's Fast Connect 7800 mobile connectivity system that brings Wi-Fi 7, which is great, for more stable, reliable, and faster connections. It should be really great connection. Qualcomm revealed that several OEMs and smartphone makers are already working on future devices using the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3, including Asus, Honor, IQ, Mizu, Neo, I don't know them, Nubia, OnePlus, Oppo, Realme, Redmi, Red Magic, Sony, Vivo, Xiaomi, and ZTE. Notice no Samsung, but you wouldn't see any Apple in there. It just struck me as funny. But OnePlus is in there, so that's good. Honor and Xiaomi have already confirmed that they'll use the new powerful premium platform for their upcoming devices, the Honor Magic 6 Pro and the Xiaomi 14 series of flagship devices. They already know what devices they're putting theirs in. So, now the Qualcomm Snapdragon X Elite, and this is the one I had the impression that Jaime Rivera was the most excited about. The new Snapdragon X Elite processor is the most powerful, intelligent, and efficient processor from Qualcomm yet, aimed to be equipped in Windows-powered devices. The processor comes with 3 significant upgrades, each focusing on important tasks such as improving performance and efficiency, enhancing AI capabilities, and providing a smarter user experience. So, all right, I'm not going to go through specs. The Snapdragon X Elite is built on the 4-nanometer process and comes with a 12-core CPU with all of the cores clocked at 3.78 gigahertz. The CPU can be boosted up to 4.3 gigahertz. That's cool. The RAM also boasts impressive numbers and has up to 136 gigabytes bandwidth with support for 64 gigabyte of LPDDR5 memory, 5X memory. If it hasn't been clear enough, Qualcomm also mentioned that the X Elite is 50% faster in multi-thread performance than the Apple M2 chip. Everybody wants to compare it to Apple. And it offers twice the performance of the Intel i7 1360p processor. I have this. My computer at home is running an Intel i7, which I love. It's very fast, so this thing has to be really fast. The X Elite uses the Adreno GPU that powers the mobile platforms, and Qualcomm claims up to 4.6 teraflops performance and support for 4K, 120 hertz HDR10 display. The chip can also seamlessly handle 2 5K displays, that's good, and 3 4K monitors, wow. And it's far more efficient than the Intel i7 13800H, while consuming 75% less power. So they're claiming a lot here. I hope they're right. Hey, Demolan, glad you're here. Going over some of the stuff from the Snapdragon Summit. Okay, Snapdragon Seamless. During the summit, Qualcomm also announced the new Snapdragon Seamless, a new universal way to communicate and use multiple devices simultaneously. New hardware framework enables all compatible devices to communicate and connect to each other, enabling a Snapdragon-powered tablet to copy and paste and edit using a Snapdragon-powered laptop or smartphone. That's pretty cool. So you can use 2 or 3 at the same time. The company showcased a new technology by having a tablet on the left, a laptop in the middle, and another tablet on the right side. I wish I could have seen that. I could probably go back and see it. Using the laptop's mouse pad and keyboard, the user can hover the mouse over to other tablets, drag and drop, and interact with other devices seamlessly. That sounds very cool. The new solution will enable new interactions and give multi-device compatibility a whole new meaning. I can see where it would. Hope it works well. Okay, Qualcomm Snapdragon S7 and X7 Pro Gen 1. Qualcomm says the Snapdragon S7 and S7 Pro Gen 1 delivers 6 times the computer power and nearly 100 times the AI power of the previous generation while consuming less power. So 100 times the artificial intelligence power. That's a lot. The new chip offers on-device AI capabilities, enhancing user experience. Everybody's doing on-device too. The new Snapdragon S7 series enables a seamless transition between different types of noise cancellation based on the user's surroundings and environment. Everybody's getting better at that, at noise cancellation too. As a result of the new hardware architecture, the active noise cancellation is significantly improved, providing a better overall experience when listening to content. Well, that's great. The Snapdragon, that's just the regular. The Snapdragon S7 Pro Gen 1 take things a step further. The new Qualcomm X-Pan technology will allow users to use their Wi-Fi network within their homes and offices to transmit audio. That's cool. Eliminating the range disadvantage caused by current Bluetooth technology. So now you can go a lot further. The X-Pan technology supports high-quality formats and new frequencies ranging from 92 kilohertz up to 192 kilohertz. All right, now I guess probably what they're going to concentrate on, or what everybody else is concentrating, generative AI. The new Qualcomm Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 and Snapdragon X Elite are both equipped with the new Qualcomm AI engine, bringing on-device AI capabilities that enable new possibilities and features. Thanks to the new advancements and technology improvements, the SoCs will be able to apply stable diffusion and generate images without relying on server farms, so they won't have to go to the cloud, also improving privacy and security. The new AI engine supports various language and vision models and focuses on network-based automatic speech recognition. Good. Okay. Post is sponsored by Qualcomm, but it was written independently, so I guess it was important that they mentioned that. So a lot going on from the Qualcomm Snapdragon Summit, and I hope they can live up to everything that they're saying, because it sounds pretty exciting. Let me stop screen for a minute. Okay, nothing new. Okay, looks like it's going to be just me again tonight, folks. Sorry about that. But hopefully you're getting some information that you didn't have before. At least that's my hope. Now, this one has a lot of technical jargon, which I'll be skipping a lot of it. Suffice to say that they can hack into Mac OS and iOS browsers and steal information from them. So this was on Ars Technica. So hackers can force iOS and Mac OS browsers to divulge passwords and much more. Eye leakage is practical and requires minimal resources. A patch isn't yet available. Now, one thing you should keep in mind, folks, this was not a hacker group. Researchers have developed this, so the good guys, basically, showing Apple what can be done against them. So nothing bad yet, but it could be. So let's go into reader view, get rid of some of these ads. Okay, researchers have devised an attack that forces Apple's Safari browser to divulge passwords, Gmail message content, and other secrets by exploiting a side channel vulnerability in the A and M series CPUs running modern iOS and Mac OS devices. Like I said, this gets very technical. I'll try to keep it as simple as I can, but I'll be skipping some too. Eye leakage, and they named this as the academic researchers have named the attack. I wouldn't be surprised if Apple was paying these people to develop this stuff to find out. Eye leakage, as academic researchers have named the attack, is practical and requires minimal resources to carry out. It does, however, require extensive reverse engineering of Apple hardware and significant expertise in exploiting a class of vulnerability known as a side channel, which leaks secrets based on clues left in electromagnetic emanations, data catchers, or other manifestations of a targeted system. In other words, you're not going to be using this unless you really, really, really know what you're doing. The side channel in this case is speculative execution, a performance enhancement feature found in modern CPUs that has formed the basis of a wide corpus of attacks in recent years. The nearly endless stream of exploit variants has left chip makers, primarily Intel and to a lesser extent AMD, scrambling to devise mitigation. So they know these things can harm them. I guess they're lucky nobody has. And this was, I think, the big thing, exploiting WebKit on Apple Silicon. The researchers implement eye leakage as a website. When visited by a vulnerable macOS or iOS device, the website uses JavaScript. That's the one thing I do understand. I used to use JavaScript to surreptitiously open a separate website of the attacker's choice and recover site content rendered in a pop-up window. So I guess the user would see that, I guess. The researchers have successfully leveraged eye leakage to recover YouTube viewing history, the content of a Gmail inbox. That could be dangerous when a target is logged in and a password as it's being auto-filled by a credential manager. So they'll get that just like that. Once visited, the eye leakage site requires about 5 minutes to profile the target machine and, on average, roughly another 30 seconds to extract a 512-bit secret, such as a 64-character string. So it takes a little time. So I would think you'd have some chance on stopping them or catching it as it's happening, I would think. Not sure, though. We show how an attacker can induce Safari to render an arbitrary web page, subsequently recovering sensitive information, so they're forcing Safari and they can get stuff back. Present within it using a speculative execution, the researchers wrote on an informational website. In particular, we demonstrate how Safari allows a malicious web page to recover secrets from popular high-value targets such as Gmail inbox content. Finally, we demonstrate the recovery of passwords in case these are autofilled by credential managers. So they get the password. Okay. While iLeakage works against Macs only when running Safari, that's good. iPhones and iPads can be attacked a little easier, I guess, when running any browser because they're all based on Apple's WebKit browser engine. So they're coming through WebKit. An Apple representative said that iLeakage advances the company's understanding and that the company is aware of the vulnerability. I wouldn't be surprised if they paid them to develop this and plans to address it in an upcoming software release. There is no CVE designation to track the vulnerability. Yeah, I'm guessing this is staying inside an Apple facility. That's my guess. The Mullen says Linux is better. Well, everybody who uses Linux always says that. Jerry on Android Central has been saying that for years, which I'm sure you're aware of. All right. So I just wanted to go over what I could with that. Now, if I take this out of reader view, which I'm not going to as far as reading anymore, there's a lot more technical jargon, which I'm not going to go into. So just want you guys to be aware, whoever has the Mac OS, which I have, and iOS browsers. Like I said, I don't think there's any danger here yet because I think this is all being developed in conjunction with that. So my guess with Apple, my guess is they're going to have the fix before any bad guys ever get a hold of this. So, next story. Yeah, I got my iOS 17.1 this week. Don't have my iPhone with me. Sorry about that. But this will tell you everything or most everything that they got in the new release. And this I got from CNET. iOS 17.1, and there's a number of videos that will give you this information in a very nice way because I've seen 2 or 3 of them already. iOS 17.1, your iPhone just got these new features. Apple's next iOS update addresses iPhone 12 safety. Remember I gave you a story about France maybe not letting them sell the iPhone 12 because of safety concerns? They address it. And we said at the time they could probably fix it with an update. Well, they did. Okay. Addresses iPhone 12 safety concerns and adds these features. So France should be happy now, even with the iPhone 12. And this is by Zachary McAuliffe. McAuliffe, yes. So let's go into reader view, drop some of the ads. Okay. Apple released iOS 17.1 to the public on Wednesday, more than a month after the arrival of iOS 17. The update brings a few new features and bug fixes to your iPhone, but some touted features like the Journal app are still missing. But the Journal app I saw on a couple of the videos, so I'm pretty sure the Journal app is there. To download the update, go to Settings, Journal Software Update, tap Install Now. Yeah. New features and fixes iOS 17 brings to your phone. iPhone 12 radio frequency concerns addressed. So again, this is specifically for the French government. France's National Frequency Agency said on September 12th that the iPhone 12 exceeds European-specific absorption rate limits, and it appears Apple addresses those concerns with iOS 17.1. And like I said, we gave you that story in September. iOS 17.1 includes an update for iPhone 12 for users in France to accommodate this specific test protocol that requires reduced power when off-body and on a static surface. Apple posted October 10th. iPhone 12 will no longer increase the allowed power, which was what they were complaining about, when the off-body state is detected, such as while it's sitting on a table. So they should be happy and no fines, I would think. New standby mode settings. Standby mode is one of my favorite new iOS features, and in iOS 17.1, Apple gives standby mode more setting options. With 17.1, you have the option to turn standby mode off after 20 seconds, never, or automatically. Apple writes that if you choose automatically, the display will turn off when your iPhone is not used and the room is dark, like when you're sleeping at night. However, now get this, I checked these settings on my iPhone 14 Pro and iPhone XR and only found these options on my iPhone 14 Pro, so good that he checked. So it appears the new settings are only available on iPhones with an always-on display. Good to know, because a lot of people still have 10R, 11. Okay, Apple Music upgrades. In iOS 17.1, Apple adds a new button in Apple Music that allows you to quickly find favorite songs. Yeah, I saw that demonstrated. Did a nice job. When a song is playing and you're looking at its card on your iPhone, there's a star outlined near the song's title. You can tap the star and add the song to your favorites. Nice and easy. There's also a new way to find all your favorited playlists, albums, and songs. That sounds useful. To find them, go into the corresponding category on Apple Music, tap the button in the top right corner of your screen, and tap Favorited. Apple Music also shows you song suggestions in iOS 17.1. To see them, go into any of your playlists and scroll to the bottom of the playlist and see a section called Song Suggestions. I think that's useful. These are songs that the app thinks you might like based on your musical taste. I had Amazon give me something like that today in Amazon Music. AirDrop using cellular data. This is very cool if you're transferring data with AirDrop. With iOS 17, Apple upgraded AirDrop with Name Drop, which we probably all saw tapping together with Name Drop. Well, now it has it for AirDrop too, which allows two devices to tap each other and exchange contact information, kind of like exchanging digital business cards. In iOS 17.1, Apple now lets you use cellular data to send and receive information over AirDrop when two iPhones are out of range of each other. So if you're doing an AirDrop with somebody and it hasn't finished yet and you got out of range, it'll continue by itself. So that's pretty cool. Flashlight symbol in live activities. Have you ever accidentally switched on your iPhone's flashlight and had someone point it out to you later? Yeah, I have. Some iPhone users won't have to worry about that anymore. With iOS 17.1, when you turn on your flashlight, a little flashlight symbol appears in the live activities feed across the top of your screen. That's in the island. However, I couldn't replicate this symbol anywhere on my iPhone XR, so this feature likely only works on live activity-enabled iPhones, like the 14 Pro and Pro Max, as well as the 15 lineup. Full list of notes. I'm not going to go over all the notes, but down the bottom of this article, if you want to go through it, you got the entire list down here at the bottom. So some useful things added to 17.1, which I think is kind of cool. Let's get out of reader view, see if there's anything new in the comments. Damone says, I really enjoy Linux Mint, and Pop OS. Well, I know Linux, and I've used it very minimally a long time ago. I don't know Linux Mint or Pop OS, so you could probably teach me a lot. Okay. Let's go on to my last story. And I'm going to present screen again. Now, like I said, I put a biological weapon in the story, but it's not a major thing. It just happens to be in there. So, UK Prime Minister says AI could help build biological weapons, among other things. And you'll see that's near the bottom, so it's not a big deal. Maybe I shouldn't even have used it. And this was on BBC, of course. Rishi Sunak says AI has threats and risk, but outlines its potential. And yeah, and his whole purpose of this speech was to try to give a positive spin, but I guess he had to mention the things that bad guys could use it for. So let's go into interview. This is my last story. This was by James Gregory and Zoe Kleiman. James Gregory was an actor from the 70s, mostly. So this is not the same Gregory, because he would be dead by now, because he was a lot older than me. Just interesting. Artificial intelligence could help make it easier to build chemical and biological weapons, Prime Minister Rishi Sunak has warned. So, like I said, he said it, but it's a worst case scenario. In a worst case scenario, society could lose all control over AI. Yeah, this is if AI decided to want to take over. Not likely. Preventing it from being switched off, Mr. Sunak said. And he does tone that back a little bit as we go along. While the potential for harm is disputed, we must not put our heads in the sand over AI risks. So he's just saying, outside possibilities he's including. In a speech aiming to present the UK as a world leader on artificial intelligence, the PM said that technology was already creating jobs. He added that development of the technology would catalyze an economic, that would make things go faster, economic growth and productivity, though admitted it would have an impact on the labor market. So on the one hand, he said it's already creating jobs, but he's also admitting that some people are probably going to lose jobs. That's what I'm seeing here. The Prime Minister's speech on Thursday morning set out the capabilities and potential risks posed by artificial intelligence, including cyber attacks, fraud, and child sexual abuse. That's pretty scary. Following the publication of a government report. Mr. Sunak said among the risks outlined in the report was that AI could be used by terrorist groups to spread fear and disruption on an even greater scale. Wouldn't surprise me. Mitigating the risk of human extinction from AI should be a global priority. Well, that's true. But, he added, this is not a risk that people need to be losing sleep over right now, and I don't want to be alarmist. Like I said, he toned it back a bit. He said that he was generally optimistic about the potential of AI to transform people's lives for the better. A threat that will be much closer to home for many is the disruption AI is already bringing to jobs, which we've already implied. Mr. Sunak mentioned AI tools efficiently doing admin tasks like preparing contracts and helping to make decisions, traditional roles carried out by employers. Yeah, I can see where people would lose their jobs there. But you're still going to need some humans to, I guess, proofread some of that kind of stuff, I would think. Mr. Sunak mentioned AI tools efficiently doing admin tasks like preparing contracts and he said he believed education was the solution to preparing people for the changing market. And I agree. If you educate people to these new technologies, you're probably going to create more jobs. Adding that technology has always brought changes to the way people make money. Automation has already changed the nature of factory and warehouse work, for example, that's true, but has not entirely removed human input. The Prime Minister insisted it was too simple to say artificial intelligence would take people's jobs, instead urging the public to view the tech as a co-pilot in the day-to-day activities of the workplace. I'm surprised he didn't say partner. Let's see, the Mullen says, we need regulations on AI. It can get out of hand in the future, if not, yes. And we're going to address that just a little bit further down. Reports including declassified material from the UK intelligence community set out a series of warnings about the threats AI could pose within the next 2 years. According to the Government Safety and Security Risks of Generative Artificial Intelligence to 2025 report, AI could be used to, and these are the bad things that could be used in the next 2 years, enhance terrorist capabilities and propaganda, radicalization, recruitment, funding streams, weapons development and attack planning. I could see where that could happen. Increased fraud impersonation. Yeah. Ransomware, currency theft, data harvesting, voice cloning. Yes. Increased child sexual abuse images. I hope they get a good handle on that. Plan and carry out cyber attacks. Well, they're already doing that, or some people are. Erode trust in information and use deep fakes. Yeah, that's a scary one. To influence societal debate. Because deep fakes, you might not know it's not the real person. Assemble knowledge on physical attacks by non-state violent actors. Yeah, by independents, including chemical, biological, and radiological weapons. Experts, now here's what we don't know. Experts are divided about the threat posed by AI, and previous fears about other emerging technologies have not fully materialized. So there's a lot we don't know yet. Rashik Parmar, the chief executive of the BCS, the Chartered Institute for IT, said AI won't grow up like the Terminator. If we take the proper steps, it'll be a trusted co-pilot from our earliest school days to our retirement. So I guess the term co-pilot is going to be a term we're going to hear a lot, I guess. In his speech, Mr. Sunak said the UK would not rush to regulate AI because it was hard to regulate something you do not fully understand, which nobody does. He said the UK's approach should be proportionate while also encouraging innovation. Mr. Sunak wants to position the UK as a global leader on the safety of the technology, which would put it at the center of a stage on which it can't really compete with used players like the US and China in terms of resources or homegrown tech giant. That's probably very true. So far, most of the West's powerful AI developers seem to be cooperating, but they are also keeping a lot of secrets. That's not good. About what data their tools are trained on and how they really work. Yeah, the secrets is kind of scary. The UK will have to find a way to persuade these firms to stop, as the Prime Minister put it, mocking their own homework. Yes. Yeah, they're probably coming up with reports about how wonderful things are and all the good stuff they're doing and not telling you about the rest. Professor Carissa Veliz, Associate Professor in Philosophy, Institute of Ethics and AI at the University of Oxford, said unlike the EU, the UK had so far been notoriously averse to regulating AI. So it's interesting for Sunak to say the UK is particularly well suited to lead the efforts of ensuring the safety of AI. That's true. It's kind of hypocritical to say you don't want to regulate it at the same time saying you're going to lead the efforts of ensuring the safety. You can't have it both ways. She said, let's see, regulation often leads to the most impressive and important innovations. Labour said the government had not yet set out concrete proposals on how it would regulate the most powerful AI models. It's going to be a long time before they have good in-depth proposals on that. Rishi Sunak should back up his words with action and publish the next steps on how we can ensure the public is protected. I'm sure he doesn't know, but I hope somebody around him can tell him. Shadow Science, Innovation and Technology Secretary Peter Kyle said, the UK is hosting a 2-day AI safety summit at Bletchley Park in Buckinghamshire next week, with China expected to attend. Well, I would hope somebody from the US would be there too. The decision to invite China at a time of tense relations between the two countries has been criticized by some. I think you need to have him there. Former Prime Minister Liz Truss has written to Mr. Sunak asking him to rescind China's invitation. And nobody's going to listen to you, Ms. Truss, not after the way you screwed up everything and resigned so quick. She believes we should be working with our allies, not seeking to subvert freedom and democracy, and cites concerns about Beijing's attitude to the West about AI. Well, yes, that is a concern. But speaking earlier, Mr. Sunak defended the decision, arguing there could be no serious strategy for AI without at least trying to engage all of the world's leading AI powers. I agree with him. The summit will bring together world leaders, tech firms, scientists, and academics to discuss the emerging technology. Yeah, China's going to keep stuff to themselves, but it's up to us to figure it out. Professor Gina Neff, director of the Minderu Center for Technology and Democracy at the University of Cambridge, has criticized the focus of the summit. I guess some people are really against this. The concerns that most people care about are not on the table, from building digital skills to how we work with powerful AI tools. So I guess she's worried about jobs to some degree. This brings its own risk for people, communities, and the planet. So a lot of opinions going on here. I just hope people get a hold of how to make this safer as they continue development. So let's get out of here. Let me stop screen. Oh, Matt, glad you made it, brother. I hope you got to hear some of it, because that was the last story, because I'm by myself today, so it was quick. But hopefully I gave you guys some stories you hadn't heard of before and you found interesting, and maybe you learned something. DeMolin says, the troubling thing is the way hackers use AI. Yeah, and that's the thing. It sounds to me like AI is easy for hackers to use, but I guess AI was meant to be easy to use. So it's hard to say how you stop them. The way hackers use AI and how AI will take over some jobs, that's true, and make the economy worse by people losing jobs to AI. And here's what I think the key there is. Even back to the days when I was programming, and it's been 7.5 years since almost 8 years since I retired from programming. But there's always been new technology come along that take people's jobs. And this is going back to the 90s and 80s, I think. And some people would lose their jobs. In almost every case that I heard of, at least in New York and when I was working in Florida, most of these companies would give people training towards the new jobs so they would have jobs and just wouldn't completely lose their jobs. And most of the time, more than half of the people whose jobs were affected refused the new training. And that's where I think the problem lies. I think people are reluctant to learn new technologies, even when their jobs are under threat. And I think that's a mistake. Now, of course, you guys know me. I'm 78 years old, and I love learning new things. I love technology. I didn't start programming until I was 36 years old. So I guess I'm the unusual one, but people tend to shy away from learning new stuff unless you can push them in that direction. Now, losing your job, I think, should push you in that direction, but at least in the past, it's always been at least half the people that had opportunities for training in the new technology said no. And they went and found other jobs or went on collecting a weekly check. And DeMone says, I agree. You have to be open-minded and willing to do other jobs. I agree. And I guess everybody can't be like me. Yes, I'm old, but I love learning new stuff. I have always found it very exciting to learn new technology. And well, you can see with my love of phones and technology in general. And yeah, compared to a lot of my coworkers, yeah, I am the odd man out. But people need to open up to this kind of stuff, especially as AI is developing stuff and replacing them in their jobs. Get the new job. Learn about the technology yourself. You're going to have a future that way. Just my opinion. And that's always been my opinion. So that's it for tonight, folks. Didn't get any Will or Ted, but hopefully we had some interesting stories. And I'm glad you guys always interact with me to express your opinions. And Roland and I are somewhat agreeing. And that's always, we had the regulars, Brian, Eleanor, Annette was here, I guess with her family. They were on their way to their other home, their home in the woods. And the Mullen was here and Matt was here. So Always glad to have you guys here. Very happy you guys joined. Oh, Damone, you're so kind. He said, "Thank you for the time you take to bring us the stories, George." Oh, it's totally my pleasure. And there's Brian being kind again. Thank you, Brian. That's Brian's second donation tonight. You're very kind, sir. And you know it's going to a good. Oh, and by the way, my OnePlus Open arrived. I guess it's at home, and I haven't had a chance to go home and even look at it. But as far as I know, it should be home. It was delivered this afternoon. So sometime this weekend, you guys are going to see a unboxing of the OnePlus Open. So look forward to that. And since I don't have to send in my beloved S23 Ultra for another week and a half at least, I'll be doing some kind of comparisons, probably with the camera first. Even with the Ultra, as good as it is with the OnePlus Open cameras, because all the big sites are saying the cameras are particularly good, better than any of the other foldable cameras. So, thanks, Damone. Yep. So I'll be having the unboxing and doing what I can for next week. He's saying have a good and safe weekend to all. And I say yes, everybody have a very blessed and safe weekend. And let's always remember we all do better when we love each other. And as you